All right, so in today's video, we're going to be checking out my what once was favorite unit until Jahain came out. And if you need only certain parts of the video, please do check the timestamps. I always put them for build videos. Now, she is absolutely amazing, super fun because she's really easy to use in my opinion. And also very useful because, my number one op in this game is Cerberus. And the only water SSR is Seo Jiwoo. So being able to use her is an absolute blessing. And me getting lucky with her dupes and getting her to max dupe already, being someone who hasn't spent a crazy amount. Like I've spent a lot, but I wouldn't say I've reached like whale levels of like whale territory levels, but definitely getting her max dupe has been a blessing for this account. Now we're gonna hop right into what she does. Okay. Now I do want to start off with the passive. Usually I do it the other way around, but we're gonna start off with the passive. Okay. And then the passive should you dupe section is just going to be the dupe passives. But I do think it's important to start off with this to get proper information on how exactly she works. Okay. So when you use Twin Dragon Strike, okay, which is the core attack, or Water Dragon Rush, Lightning Kick, or Burst Punch, okay? So it's going to be these two, right? So essentially the core attack, all right? The two basic skills, and then the QTE skill. When you use any of those, you get one training stack. And the training stack will actually show in game. So when you go in game, you will see basically an orb behind Jiwoo. And once you get to 3 stacks, it's going to apply the Water Dragon Training effect. And when the effect is active, it's going to reset the cooldown of Water Dragon Rush and Lightning Kick. Now, what it's also going to do is change the attacks to make it do actually more damage, be longer attacks, and actually cause more break damage. Okay, so that's why she's very good, because you use your 2 skills, you then use your core attack or you QTE, and then it resets. So you're gonna be almost having 100% uptime. Okay, which is why she actually becomes extremely strong and very good for Cerberus. Right, Cerberus is very, very annoying, and her existing even at dupe 0, back when I had her with 0 dupes, she was a blessing to use because of how quick she's able to break the guard. Now let's go over her full kit with this information in mind. So normal, just whatever, basic attack. Now when you get to the core attack, which obviously for people who still don't know how it works, which I've had a few people, basically when you do enough basic attacks, you're going to be getting, or when you do enough basic attacks, you get to use the core attack, which is going to be obviously a more enhanced version of the basic attack. And obviously this one's going to deal break. Now this also deals break. And of course, when you have the when you have this version of it, the Water Dragon training version, when it's heavy mode, it's going to be applying a shield to the whole team. And obviously you're going to have super armor too. Same thing for this, super armor, no shield though, but it's going to be increasing the break damage. So it's weak break, but then you're also going to be increasing the amount of damage break you do here. And because of how much she's going to be able to spam this, right? Because you spam both skills, you use your core attack, you reset the cooldown, then you re-spam this. It's going to end up building up a lot over time. Now, a little thing I want to recommend before really going further is you want to build up your break bar, or sorry, your attack bar in the core attack. Obviously, you could see on the attack, on the like basic attack icon, you're going to see the white bar around it slowly fill up, and you're going to want to save the core attack till after using both your basic skills or before. As long as you don't have 3 training stacks active, you will actually want to use it just to make sure that you get the 3 stacks very quickly and swiftly. Okay, so that's it for that. She is going to be doing tremendous break damage, and she alone will be able to solo a lot of the times. Now her support skill is extremely good, and I think one of the better ones in my opinion for Jinwoo, okay, because of the fact that she's able to put medium break this time, which is a lot, okay, and then it's also going to be applying a shield of 10% to the entire team, and these shields are going to be very good and sometimes enough while letting you just attack more, right? So it's going to be definitely good for that reason. Obviously my damage is definitely enhanced because I have her duped out plus 10, but yeah. Now even this still breaks, right? You got core attack breaking, both skills breaking, support skill and QTE skill all breaking, making it very, very good. Now her ultimate is pretty basic, but her whole kit in my opinion usually does revolve around the basic skills instead of the ultimate. This is just extra chip damage, and how I usually use it is to basically either block damage. So sometimes if I know I'm about to be fucked over, I will use this ultimate to kind of stop that, because obviously when you're in the ultimate animation you can't take the damage, and that's like kind of the best way in my opinion to really go about using this ultimate. And then we obviously covered the passive, but yeah, I mean, best way, just use your 2 basic skills, use your core attack from the basic attack, right? Once the bar's filled up, use the core attack, and then you reset, and that's literally it. All right, so man, Jiwoo is really just that good. Now let's cover the dupes one by one, and I'll give you my honest opinions on which ones I find to be the most impactful. So I consider Jiwoo to be mainly like at dupe 0. She was definitely there to mainly just break, right? She was there to break, and back in the day, I would use Taegyu and then Bora a bit, and also maybe a bit of Beck, depending on the situation. Obviously more in the soft launch phase of this game to mainly do my damage, where she was able to do some damage, but it was more so chip damage over anything, especially back in the time when my gear was much more lackluster. I didn't have her weapon, etc, etc. But when you start duping her out, she's gonna, like, every dupe is quite good, but there's certain dupes that obviously stand out more than others. And usually for the what would I call them? Like the actual pickup units, you will see that like there's a kind of a pattern where it's like dupe 1, 3, and 5 are like the big dupes, and then dupe 2 and 4 are more so just stats a bit. I mean, we see this with Hein being the crit rate and crit damage a lot, but for her, like, all of them provide quite good value. So the dupe 1 is going to be increasing the damage of her heavy attacks, right? So this is going to be when she's actually with the water dragon training effect, not just the normal attack. So you will see definitely some value from this, a pretty good amount. But I would have rathered overall, because of how much the heavy attacks do much more break damage, because there's a second part to the attack, right? So it's like it does the normal attack strength, or it does the normal animation, and then it does an extra water dragon like coming out of the ground. So if this was break effect, I think this would be a lot better. But definitely this is not a bad one. Overall, I'd say it's one of the like you could get it to dupe 1. The damage increase won't be exponential, but it will be good enough. Now the dupe 2, in my opinion, is where, like, is in my opinion her sweet spot, because it's going to be increasing the break effectiveness overall by 15%, and then the heavy attack lightning kick by 50%, which is this one, which in my opinion is let me just look at it to make sure I'm not tripping. This one is, in my opinion, the better one to use, because it's a lot safer than jumping around like this. Because this one, obviously, you're jumping around, but obviously you're not doing that for this one. So I'd say lightning kick works out a lot better for it to be the one that's increasing the break effectiveness by 50%. So this dupe 2 is very good. Now the dupe 3, it's going to depend if you actually need anything, okay? Are you in a situation where you need more MP? If so, maybe you do want to get this, but usually for me, I've not really ran out of MP with Jiwoo that much, but I think my playstyle with Jiwoo has changed because of the fact that I've Hein max duped. So for a lot of people, if you are using Jiwoo as like a solo DPS, okay, wait, hold on, I don't want it to keep on playing. For a lot of people, this dupe 3 will be at least somewhat beneficial, but in my opinion, stopping at the dupe 2 is good enough. Now, for the dupe 4, it's going to be a small damage and like tanking increase, increasing your HP by 15% of crit damage. For example, right now I'm getting a 350, 175, about like 525 HP increase if we're considering I have 3500 crit damage, right? Obviously, you have to look at the actual stat. So I'm getting about a 500 HP increase, okay? So it's nothing absolutely insane. What, she's at 19k HP, so it's like, it's nice. It's nice. But it's not necessarily insane until you really start investing heavily into crit with her, right? So that's definitely something. Now the dupe 5 increases the crit rate and skill damage by 32% of pretty much everything. Of the heavy attack, and then I think this is the the ultimate. So this one's pretty good. Okay, I actually do think it's very nice, and this is when the ultimate definitely gains a bit of value. But in my opinion, definitely dupe 2 and 3 are probably the heavy hitters. Now, obviously, the one gripe I have with her is that the damage only increases for the heavy attacks. You will be using the heavy attacks quite a bit because you will get those 3 stacks very frequently, but having it be much more frequently than it is with it, if it was on all the attacks and not just the heavy attack versions, would be better, okay? But still, I would say it's not bad. It would definitely turn her into more of a DPS. And I do see definitely a damage increase with this dupe 5 and obviously the dupe 1, both increasing the heavy attack damage. But for real, dupe 2 I think is for sure the sweet spot. After dupe 2, if you're not having mana issues, you could stop at dupe 2. Simple as that. I think Jiwoo is very good on her own there. Now then, obviously you want to build her with HP because she scales off of HP, and her weapon is very good. In total, it could increase the crit damage at 0 dupes by up to 25%. So like long game with Cerberus, this one will actually come into play quite nicely. But let's say you don't have that early game, you could just slap this one on, okay, getting the power gauge increase, or this one. You will end up QTEing with her a lot, but in my opinion, you should not build these too much. I mean, it's okay for like certain units, but long game, obviously, you do want to get the unique weapon. And is hers worth it is the main question. Yes, it is, okay? And you can run this on other people. I'm so pissed that I got Emma's instead of Jiwoo's. I would have liked to have gotten Jiwoo's. It probably would have helped me a bit more early game with Cerberus, but definitely one that you do want to get, all right? For sure, for sure. Now, let's talk about her artifacts. This is my build. There are a couple different ways to go about her. I want to preface this. I think I should have prefaced this a bit earlier, but the way I have them built is not necessarily, in my, like, right now, the way I have it built right now is not necessarily going to be the best overall. So don't just like see this 1 second and then just click off this part, okay? Because Haynes build is not the best build. Okay, on the artifacts is not the best, but I don't have better gear on the right side because my luck for the expert set has been dog shit. Okay, dog shit. So, like, what is it? I mean, I have an attack percent now, blessed, but I want to get crit damage on it with the attack percent main stat. So, just to preface that. Now, in my opinion, for Cerberus, the 4 set for solid analysis, just giving you the break, is probably going to be the best. Now, the thing is, if at one point later on, you're doing fine with Cerberus, you don't necessarily need to have this 4 set. Okay, for outright damage, in other places besides Cerberus, if you want to use her in other places besides Cerberus and not just do break damage, then having two-piece between the break effect and the crit effect would not be a bad idea. Now, if you want to just do outright flat damage instead of crit, right, you could also run 2-piece break and 2-piece HP. It's going to be depending on your the stats you have on these gear pieces. The 3 best ones is for sure number 1, break, and then in my opinion, a tie between the crit build and also the HP build if you're going for 2-piece. If you're going for 4-piece, the best 4-piece is this for Cerberus, all right? That's what I have on right now, and I'm under the belief that for Cerberus, it is by far the best approach, all right? Now, we're going to talk about stats after the artifacts. So the artifacts, in my opinion, this 4-piece is probably the best, all right? Now, you're only going to have access to this for 70% of it, right? Because obviously she increases her damage once they get to 70%. Now, I also see the opinion of not this one. I'm really bad with finding it, of this one being very good when you fall below 70%. Now, this will end up happening a lot with Cerberus. So either approach you decide to go by will for sure be better. This outright gives you a bigger damage increase, okay? That I'm not holding you against. If you end up falling below 70% a lot against Cerberus or other bosses, please do run this one for sure. This, I would say in my opinion, they are tied because now I've gotten to the point where for me, I'm not falling below the 70% HP as much with Jiwoo, okay? But if you're falling below that 70%, then you should definitely run the Berserker set, all right? Bar none, all right? Now, if you want to mix both of them, you go ahead. I wouldn't really do that, but those two, in my opinion, are the best ones. Third place would be this. If you have like really good substats on this and good main stats, go ahead and run it. Like if you're running it with Choi or like Cha, like sure, but this should not be the one you go to immediately. Either Berserker or Executioner, probably more so leaning towards Berserker for many people. Now let's talk about the substats. The best ones obviously is going to be HP, but if you go for any damage substat besides that, go ahead. Like you want to get her crit rate up, all right? Especially once you get her dupes up, her crit values will be very important. As of right now, I have an okay crit build. 40 to 132 is not horrible. I would like to get more crit damage because I don't have any crit. Like I have 2 crit damage. That's it. So if I could get a bit more, especially because this is off of crit damage, that would be very, very nice, right? That would be very nice. I would say going for crit damage here is probably best if you go at least like more dupes with the weapon. But if you do go for an HP main stat, you know, go ahead, right? They both work out. They both work out. Especially, do I have any? I don't have an HP percent. If you go for an HP percent, go ahead. If that's the type of build you want to go for, that works out just as well. Substats, for sure, best ones in my opinion are either crits. Remember, left side crit rate, right side crit damage, and then HP percent, defense penetration, damage increase. Probably the best ones to go for in terms of substats. Main stats, I would say HP percent. Obviously, these two are the same. Crit damage or HP percent. Additional HP, water damage, obviously, additional HP, HP percent, anything like that. And then this is MP. So like that's kind of the main stats that you'd end up going for. Now then, there's three different types of teams that I'd really go for. And the first one for sure is this, okay? Now, she's going to be serving as the breaker. Byunggu is actually going to buff both of them up on my respective team. Now, for obviously, Byunggu is giving crit damage, crit rate damage increase, and some healing, which healing, in this case, could be bad for Jiwoo if you go for the Berserker build. But for me, because I don't have it, it does play out fine. And I want the crit damage increase because that's also going to be increasing Jiwoo's total HP because I have her at Dupe 5. Now, it's also Byunggu's perfect for Cha in this case because he's the Cha supporter, right? Crit damage, crit rate is exactly what Cha needs, and I have Byunggu at Dupe 1, which is exactly where you want to keep him at, all right? So this is team number 1. Now, this slot, in my opinion, could be any DPS. If you want to go for Beck, if you want to go for Choi, but Choi and Byunggu are not the best combo, right? If you want to go for double break for like a grinding type of thing, that could work. Taegyu also works, and like this is the other team I would recommend being double dark, which I've seen ran a decent amount. So like if you how it would work, basically she's gonna support increase dark damage, increase the damage you're doing, have off field damage, right, with her foxes. She's gonna break, he's gonna break, and also do very good damage. So this team can for sure work. And then obviously if you're trying to like defeat Cerberus, you could also put Nam Chae-young with Jiwoo, okay, like these two units, and then the last slot could be whatever you need it to be. Either I would say probably a damage dealer because it's double break. You would probably want to put Cha again here, or Byunggu, or Choi, but Choi doesn't work against Cerberus, or Beck, or actually, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. But for sure, for me, this team has worked very well, right? You could even use Jiwoo in the spider fight or Arachnid if you really want to, but that's basically just how I'd go about it. Now, you know, I'd stick with Igris as the leader. The thing is with Igris, he gives attack increase, right? So that is a bit of a problem. So either Igris for the whole team or Iron just for like a hyper Jiwoo build, especially for running Nam Chae-young with Jiwoo. Now I'm 3 traces off from being able to unlock Iron. Personally, I don't really use them because I use a lot of attack units and I don't see the need to make Jiwoo stronger when I'm able to clear the content at this point. But he will actually be very good. The defense decrease is nice while also being able to increase Jiwoo's HP. So definitely not one to sleep on depending on the leader, right? Igris is amazing for like attack units, but also still able to be universal with the crit increase. But Iron is more hyper focused on any HP unit. So that's kind of what I do for that. So if anything wasn't made clear to you in this video, please let me know down below and I will try my best to answer. Of course, if I see it and I'm able to respond, I will. That's basically it for this Seo Jiwoo build video. Now, I opted against doing a showcase in this because I do want to make a proper showcase video for her very soon. If you would like to see that and it was something that you kind of felt was missed out on this video, please let me know and for sure I'll get to it very soon. But I do want to kind of get through some more build videos. Personal ones I'm going to do after this is going to be Byunggu, Choi. I want to get through Taegyu and also Baekhyun Ho. I'm not the biggest, most knowledgeable person on Silvermane, but maybe in the future I will get to it too. But that's basically it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace.